These punches are absolutely terrible for somebody at this level and at this place on the card. Here we have Seth Rollins. He looks like he's running like I run here, but we have Seth Rollins running up. Now, what we're going to focus on here, this is something, we're talking about the future pro wrestlers, the basics, the foundations. These punches are absolutely terrible for somebody at this level and at this place on the card. So I'm just going to kind of move it up. Now, this is Bronson Reed. I like the environment here of outside the arena, of brawling, of doing something outside of the ring. But you run the risk of making things look like crap. And that's exactly what happens here. So here he is approaching Bronson Reed. And you're going to see right away, James and everybody, the first, he's going to kind of splash him. Look at these punches. Look at the punches. They're awful. These punches are awful. They're like Tony or David Crockett used to say, but this is the negative way. Look at him, Tony. Look at him. But don't look. They're the crappiest punches you'll ever see. And
what's he doing wrong then? Because, I mean, I see crappy punches all the time. So what's wrong? What's he doing wrong?
He's doing what Kevin Nash calls egg beaters. In other words, you misinterpret viciousness and aggression with hitting somebody more. You've seen those punches that are just like, what's next? What's next? What's next? You're not focusing on that. In other words, he would have been good to do the standard duck Bronson Reed's clothesline and then just start lighting them up 1, 2. You know what I mean? Like, take each punch. He's seven steps ahead in his mind about where they got to be on the car, where they got to be in the truck, he's thinking of the spots instead of just fighting and getting to the spot. So that's why it's just awful. I just think you don't want to hurt anybody, but like the bear hug, in a way, Bronson Reed's wrong too, because you're not giving him any kind of space to really reach back and get the range. So, and he's selling it. This monster's selling it, which, by the way, speaking of selling, we're going to get to the next part of this. The whole segment was wrong. It was definitely what went wrong. And I'm going to tell you why and what I would do as a talent after this. So we have this right here. He picks him up. And this here is fine. Just grab him in a front face lock and try to like hockey punch him, you know? But these little egg beaters are just crap. Now, this right here, oh, he threw the guy in the railing. All right, so right here, what we have, and what I'm going to do is back up because we can zoom in, which I didn't do. I'm going to zoom in, and you're going to see the punches. They're not even touching them. You see that? Mm-hmm. It's just terrible. It's awful for somebody on this level, this place on the card, getting paid that much money. It's no excuse. All right, so here we have curb stomp. Curb stomp onto a car hood. And I want to ask you, did you watch Raw?
I watched bits of it. I've not seen this bit.
Okay. Now, the curb stomp is Seth Rollins' finish, correct? For the most part?
Mm-hmm.
So when he stomps somebody, he pins them. They don't get up.
No, they do not get up.
Okay. Curb stomp, pin somebody, they don't get up. Sometimes they don't get up for 10, 20, 30 seconds, right? And they're not fresh as a daisy and firing up afterwards. Pretty safe assumption, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you assume, though, James?
Right, so you would say it makes an ass out of you and me. When I was at college, they used to say, assuming is the mother of all f***ups.
Yeah, edit that out, Chris. Lots of curse-heavy words here. This was the mother of F-ups in the other sense, because you and I assume he should sell this. A curb stomp onto a car hood, which looks great. Look at it. Slow-mo. Looks great. Boom. And he ate it. He put his head right into that. What do you think will happen after this? Is this the end of the segment?
He'll be taken to a local medical facility. He might be out for 3 weeks.
I might be taken to a local medical facility if I have to watch this clip again. So, no, I'm going to show you what happens. Seth Rollins is looking at the camera, talking like this. I'm going to go in slow-mo. Look off to your left. Right here. Look at what's going on. You just got curb stomped into a car hood. Dare I say, from basically the top rope. If you think about it, right? Mm-hmm. And he's stronger than ever before. And ready. He's ready. It was the curb stomp that heals. It was a 5-hour energy curb stomp. I can't even say it. So, good Lord. What do you think about that? Watching it for the first time over and over again.
How many seconds were there between curb stomp and recovery? I know you cut out the middle bit, but how many seconds were there in real time?
10, 15 seconds of him looking in the camera, cutting a promo. You saw when he was getting off the hood and he went right to the camera. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's 20, 30 seconds. You're going to get curb stomped into a wrestling mat, which is still getting curb stomped. That's a piece of metal, and he's 3 feet above him with all the momentum.
When you said egg beaters as punches, I was looking at Seth Rollins when he was punching to the body to Bronson Reed, and he was punching him with his fist closed, but he was punching with the palm like that. Is that generally a pro wrestling thing, or would you be discouraged from doing that because it looks fake? Well,
no. I mean, when you're doing the kind of the palm strike shot to the stomach is usually when you got somebody in a corner and you go to the side and you hit them dead in the stomach. And it's like Jerry Lawler would do that, where he would make that noise of hitting. It doesn't hurt, but it's there. That makes sense. I like that a lot more because at least he slowed the cadence down to the stomach. But these here, dude, he literally just tapped him on the shoulder. He said, "Hey, I'm here." It's like tapping somebody, but not from behind. Egg beaters is the Kevin Nash reference to that. That's what it looks like, an egg beater, like this.
There's one more thing I noticed. I know we're not playing it in full speed because, YouTube and Content ID and that kind of thing. If you want things played regular speed, you have to go to the Patreon. Stevie Richards' Patreon that I encourage you all to go to. There's something that I've noticed, and I always see it more in, the 10 punches to the corner thing, is that obviously it can be a wide chasm of difference between how well they look or how terrible they look, but a lot of cadence as punches is that the fist comes back quicker than when it goes down to the head. Is that something that's quite common in wrestling? Is basically you try and make motion or make something look more impactful, but actually bringing your arm back quicker than bringing it to the head. Well, the
punch, I said it before, the punch is the range. The punch actually starts here. Say you're on the person there. The more you rear back, the more, leniency you have or margin of error, especially if the person has long hair. The more margin of error you have to miss. But think about it. Seth Rollins' punches are like this. He's not rearing back. When he started rearing back to the stomach, they looked a little bit more real. When you're like this, there's nothing you can do. I'd rather like I said, duck, range, punch, and 3 good ones before he gets cut off. That's, in my estimate, this whole thing, what this does, it kind of hurts Bronson Reed a little bit with the punches. This segment hurts Seth Rollins almost 100% more than Bronson Reed. Number 1, your punches look like crap. Number 2, you prostituted and pretty much sacrificed your finish, which was even more devastating on a car hood with you above your opponent. So if it was me looking at this as a worker, you better hit me with 5 of these to pin me, which further prostitutes your finish more. But I would say if this guy fires up, then why don't I at least kick out on 2? It's not as hard of a bump as the car. These are just things I can see people not telling him, but pushing back on the agent, on the writer, Triple H, say, why should I sell this? Now, he's politically favored. He's Triple H's boy. So I don't know if anybody's right. He could have a little creative liberty, pal, as Vince would say, that people aren't going to step up and say, I can't sell that. But I guarantee you during the Austin, The Rock, Taker days, they'd be like, I don't want to work with him. I'm not selling that finish.
There's one more thing, and I've seen this in brawls before in wrestling, where someone's got them in a bear hug. As you say, Seth Rollins is doing these very weak-looking rabbit punches with the inside of the palm, basically, with his fist closed. I've seen I think it's like more old-school wrestling, territorial wrestling, when there's a sort of brawl going on, and they want to create the illusion of violence and the illusion of motion, is when they're that close together, instead of doing rabbit punches, they will swing their arms. The person in the bear hug will swing their arms.
You're almost giving a forearm down onto them, trying to...
I was going to say even further on, a bicep, but the motion will be far more extreme. They'll be swinging their entire arm, and they'll either wrap the arm around the head and not hit them at all, or wrap their arm around the back, so it feels more uncontrolled and wild brawl.
The way this would have worked a little bit better is if Bronson Reed, like I said, either did the old swing and punch, which I hate, the duck punch, thing, as the guy's running at you, But if Seth, pretty much, front face locked him and then took him down a little bit, got on top of him, started hitting him there, Bronson Reed pushes him off, tries to get away, Seth charges him, then he does the slam onto the hood, then that weird one on the box made no sense except to put Seth up there to do the stomp. So it didn't make any sense. Now, he kicked him with the heel of his boot pretty hard. So there's not even a consistent, there's weak and rough in here. It's not consistent. So the whole thing with this segment, I like the environment. Love the environment. Loving introducing a car that they obviously are ribbing somebody. If this was Samantha Irvin before she left, I would say that's her rental car. That somebody got ribbed with that, obviously. But it's all wrong. And it hurts Seth so much more than it hurt Bronson Reed. On the other end, like I said, he's Triple H's boy. Who are you going to blame a bad segment on? Not Seth. Can't tell him anything.